The Hong Kong Special Administrative Region will turn 25 on July the 1st. In traditional Chinese thinking, this is a period of time between early adulthood and being able to stand firm on one's own. As China celebrates the 25th anniversary of the handover, what positive changes have occurred to enable the region to stand firm? What's the biggest hurdle, and why is it time to educate the young people to foster a correct understanding of Hong Kong's history? Earlier, I had the pleasure to talk to Adrian Ho, a Central Committee member of the New People's Party and founder of the Facebook group Save Hong Kong. He's also one of the few from Hong Kong who know Xinjiang firsthand. He shared with me his personal observations on how Xinjiang emerged from an era of fear. So, Adrian, thank you so much for joining us. I know you established Save Hong Kong, which is a Facebook group to support pro-establishment camp in August 2019. What made you think that Hong Kong needed to be saved back then?
Thanks for having me. I founded Save Hong Kong at the peak of the riots and political unrest. On top of violent behaviors all over Hong Kong, putting people's lives in danger. Anyone who has a pro-establishment opinion will get crucified and scrutinized, with their personal and family information exposed online. At the time, the internet and social media was filled with opinion to justify criminal activities in order to achieve their so-called political goals. That's when I felt the need to establish a pro-establishment social media platform for people to freely express their opinion without being judged, crucified, and scrutinized.
I understand that the group was shut down once by Facebook in 2020, but it quickly attracted around 80,000 members after you re-established it. Why was it shut down? Why was it not allowed? And why do you think it attracted so many people once it was reopened?
It's one of life's mysteries to this day. I was notified that we were flagged for regulated goods, which, strangely speaking, masks were even considered to be regulated goods during that time. So maybe because of that, but I didn't really focus on what went wrong, rather on how to pick ourselves up. So I started a new group immediately. We were blessed that we had a big presence at the time and our members were loyal and they believed the importance of the group. So the majority rejoined.
Since the implementation of the national security law in Hong Kong, and now that the new electoral system has been improved and executed, what has been the impact on Save Hong Kong and yourself? Is such a group still needed now that Hong Kong has regained its stability? Have the group's goals evolved?
I believe members of Save Hong Kong, myself included, were frustrated in regards to the political unrest in 2019 and the better half of 2020. The national security law and the new electoral system provided a much needed breathing room for all of us. The tone of people's voices changed from being desperate to being hopeful, to say the very least. Does Hong Kong still need saving? Short answer is yes. The political turmoil followed by COVID-19 revealed a lot of deep-seated social and economic problems that existed for years. The polarized society right now is only the tip of the iceberg. There are a lot more problems that requires attention. In the beginning, we functioned as an online discussion group, but as time progresses, we felt the need to evolve by doing more charity work to help people in need. For example, we held an online charity concert to raise money for 2 charitable organizations, as well as organizing volunteer work to help the underprivileged. In the future, we will continue to do so.
Many international media, especially Western media, were gloomy about Hong Kong's future. However, if you look at the reality, for instance, a very latest annual report by an institution in Switzerland called the IMD, and they release a world competitiveness ranking every year for a long time. Hong Kong, for the latest report, has actually climbed up by 2 spots to the 5th place worldwide. And if you look at economies with smaller population, Hong Kong actually ranks number 4, even higher than the 5th place I just mentioned. So that's kind of the opposite of what a lot of people are saying, that Hong Kong is doomed, freedom in the city is gone, the vitality of the city is gone. What do you think really kept the city vital, relevant, and competitive?
I think Hong Kong is very unique that it has an open and free market with low taxation, free port trade, and a very established international financial market. And on top of that, Hong Kong has an efficient public sector and a favorable business environment with a level playing field where companies of any size can thrive. The dip in ranking is almost entirely due to COVID-19. We cannot be as opened up to international business as we could. So I could see a dip in ranking in the last couple of years, primarily due to that. However, as we get over COVID, as we recover from COVID, I think our competitiveness and our competitive ranking will go back to where it was in no time.
July the 1st will mark the 25th anniversary of Hong Kong's return to Chinese rule. Looking back at the 25 years, how successful has the one country, two systems arrangement been? And going next, what's the big mountain, if I can borrow this term, to be scaled for Hong Kong?
One country, two system has been implemented for 25 years already. Time really flies, doesn't it? And Hong Kong is able to capitalize with one country, two system to establish itself as an international financial center and the dominant gateway to China and the global hub for offshore R&B businesses. And it is the best place to capture China opportunities and be able to cultivate business opportunities that we never had prior to one country, two systems. I think the biggest obstacle is that we need to, first of all, reunite our society. Hong Kong we have had our ups and downs over the years. However, 2019 and 2020 revealed a lot of deep-seated problems that was unresolved for years and years and years. So I think reuniting our city is definitely one of the most important jobs that I believe that all of us need to do.
Earlier this month, the Hong Kong Education Bureau announced there will be new textbooks for the subject of citizenship and social development. Why is it deemed necessary for such changes to take place for the future? And for people who have little idea about the educational materials in Hong Kong, could you give us an example as why it needs to be changed?
I do believe this is necessary. And first and foremost, I believe that some critics says that this is merely that Beijing has tightened its grip on Hong Kong. What I want to say to them is that they clearly do not understand the concept of one country, two systems. I think education is the key to development of our youth population, and a reform is long overdue. New textbooks are definitely a great start. The 2019 political unrest revealed a lot of unresolved social problems that actually stem from education. For years and years, children had been studying textbooks that had its content manipulated to give students a false sense of identity and understanding of our country and history. Citizenship and social development education, in my opinion, needs to start from the ground up, but textbook is only one element. In this day and age where you have an abundant amount of information on the internet, textbooks alone ain't gonna be sufficient. It requires schools, teachers, parents, and peers all work together to make this happen. And the goal is not only to absorb the correct information, but to develop critical thinking skills to recognize and therefore utilize the correct information. And only then, I think students will have a much better understanding on citizenship and healthy social development.
Finally, you have done extensive research about Xinjiang as you are the chairman of a Xinjiang wind power company. Have you been to Xinjiang, Adrian?
I have
You
for
have.
almost 10 years now.
Why decided to invest in Xinjiang? What is the situation now, 10 years after you started to be interested in Xinjiang?
When I first started investing in Xinjiang, I saw the big potential that Xinjiang has. Xinjiang not only has one of the most diverse ethnic group population in the country, it is a region that is very rich in resources. The government has implemented a lot of policies to help economic development in the region. So in light of that, I could see that Xinjiang would only prosper from that point on. So this is one of the reasons why I decided to pack my bags and invest in Xinjiang. Now, the other reason is that during that time, one of the big plans in the country is to develop the Big West region. So the entire region, Xinjiang included, are being developed heavily. So myriads of business opportunities surfaced during that time. So it was definitely at the right time, at the right place.
Great to have you on the show, Adrian, and thanks for sharing with us your understanding and your experiences regarding Hong Kong and Xinjiang. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.